Directors meeting for today, June 17, 2014. Present are Commissioner Cuellar, Precinct 1, Palacios, Precinct 2, Palacios, Precinct 4, and myself. We have a quorum. Anybody sign up?
No, sir.
On our consent agenda, any concerns?
We're okay, Judge.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. On item 4.
Under item 4, update on the Delta Watershed Project. Just wanted to get the board an idea where we're at on that. We've been moving forward with Robert Kisher doing all the analysis on the water tables to make sure that we'll be able to build the system where we need to build it there. Secondly, we've also been running water quality samples on our drain ditch and on the river. We've been working with Pan Am to try to bring them on board and use their cooperative agreements to start doing some of the testing using the students there. We've begun the analysis also of the area as far as what tracts of land might be contingent to be able to develop the project. We've cleared our issues through the environmental process. TCEQ has given us the go-ahead. We are now working on the water availability model to see how much water we're going to be able to get permitted to be able to utilize on that. We've also have some training going on Monday and Tuesday in Austin with part of a group that provides funding for these projects. There's a lot of private groups out there that could fund it, or there'll be some self-serving items on the table to present to this board to bring you up to date. But the program is moving forward on it. We should have some type of schematics for y'all probably within the next month or so on the construction of the reservoir itself for flood control there. So just a general update on where we're at on that project, unless the board has some specific questions on it. That's it, sir.
Any questions?
Good.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Martha Salazar, Purchasing Department. Item 5 is the presentation of statements of qualifications received for the RFQ number 140 with title of Professional Legal Services Review of Agreement between Hidalgo County Drainage District number 1 and Intech Corporation for Hidalgo County Drainage District number 1 with the request to designate and appoint and approve a committee to score, grade, and evaluate the statements of qualifications received and to score them against the procurement packet details as the procurement packet details and dictates in order to proceed to the next phase. So I need the announcement of who those.
All right.
So.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Raúl.
Okay.
Raúl Lozano.
Yolanda Chapa.
All right.
Marcos Lopez.
And if the court permits, I will just contact Precinct 3 and ask the commissioner as to who he will be nominating.
That would be fine.
All right. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Item 6.
Item 6, requesting approval to accept bids and award contracts, sole bidder meeting all specification requirements for RFB number HCDD1 14-012-0604, gasoline on and off highway diesel fuel. We had one bidder, which was Gold Star. On our unleaded, we have an average increase of about 10 cents a gallon from the previous bid. However, on our diesel, which we use a tremendous amount, it's gone down about 20 cents. So I thought we got a very good price on that.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item B, request approval of draft specifications approval to advertise for RFB number HCDD1 14-017-0716, reinforced concrete pipe, tongue and groove, reinforced concrete pipe, rubber gasket, box covers less than 2 foot fill, box covered more than 2 foot fill. This is our standard bid for the year in which we procure from.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item C, requesting approval to issue purchase order to R. Gutierrez Engineering Corp. in the amount of not to exceed $19,624.70 and that relates to construction material testing for FM 495 Trenton, Wisconsin Road Fuel Crossing. These are the last 2 crossings that we're putting in commission as part of the FM 495 project to close us all out on that project.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Discussion and action to approve First Amendment between the County of Hidalgo, the Edinburgh Consolidated Independent School District, the City of McAllen, and the Hidalgo County Drainage District regarding mile 17.5 road project. This is a modification for some specific language that the county needed in order to be able to utilize the fund that came in from McAllen for the commissioner to be able to utilize it on construction of the roadway, I believe. We've had legal look at it on our end, and we're good with it, sir.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Discussion and action to approve interlocal cooperative agreement between Hidalgo County and Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 as it pertains to maintenance of drainage facilities as outlined in the attached agreement. We've had legal review all of this agreement, and what it amounts to is over the past 3 or 4 years, there's been about 150 miles of facilities that have been turned over from different irrigation districts to the county, in which the county is going through the process of getting them cleared as far as ownership. So now we're moving forward where the district will start maintaining those facilities. And also there are certain facilities that the county has built using either urban county money or local money that we are moving forward and to start maintaining it. So it's gonna be about 150 linear miles, which could be about 300 miles of maintenance that we're gonna be doing. I've asked our purchasing department also to start looking at possibly outsourcing the shredding of some of these facilities to try to expedite the issue and try to limit any additional personnel that might be needed in the future, because putting on 300 more miles of drainage systems to shred and maintain, it's going to be a big burden on the district. But I believe in the past year, we've been able to work with county forces and district forces to maintain them. So this, I believe, is one of the main processes we need to be able to start maintaining these facilities.
Are they going to be up there in the morning?
It depends, Commissioner, like I said, but we will be starting to maintain them. I know you've got about two ditches, particularly in precinct number 2 and in precinct number 4, that the grass is getting knee-high on, that we need to start shredding those facilities as quickly as possible.
We have a bunch of those too.
You've got about 100 miles in your precinct, Commissioner.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries.
Item 9, 2013 bond series payments. Request approval of application of payment number 3 in the amount of $190,210.96 from Rojas Construction and Paving LLC related to contract number HCDD1 14-001-0121, Precinct 2 Rural Drainage Development, Northside Village, Hidden Valley Subdivision Area, Drainage Improvements from Agreement for Professional Engineering Services for the 2012 Bond Referendum Rural Drainage Development Program, Precinct 2. Everything's in order. The engineer signed off on the payment.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, request approval of estimate number 5 to IPR South Central LLC in the amount of $750,618.75 pertaining to contract number TP07-13 through the district's membership with HGAC by member number 07149, approved by the board on 11/12/2013 for the construction of the radial drain reroute rehabilitation. Again, the estimate's been signed off by the engineer for the board's consideration.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, Commissioner, we have no item under executive session as the board wishes to entertain.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much, Commissioners, Judge.
Thanks. We have 7 minutes before we can start the next meeting.
Thank you, Judge.
I want to welcome you to the regular meeting of the Hidalgo County. We want to welcome you to the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court meeting for today, June 17, 2014. Present are Commissioner Cuellar, Precinct 1, Palacios, Precinct 2, Palacios, Precinct 4, and myself. We have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Father in heaven, we ask you to bless everyone here. We ask you to bless us with rain. Thank you for the clouds, for with clouds, there's always the possibility of rain. We need it badly. We need to get rid of the high pressure area over our area, which is keeping rain out. And Lord, we are sincere about these things. We want you to help us. Please bless the world in its turmoil, especially the nation of Iraq that's going through so much, with so many people being murdered because of their faith. We ask you, dear Lord, to bless what we're getting ready to do here today. Give us wisdom and help us to do the right thing according to the people in the county. We ask these things in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
All right. First matter is the consent agenda. Any concerns?
Yes, Judge, there's one concern. Can you take up the agenda with the exception of item 12H?
12H.
Judge,
Yes.
Commissioners, I'd also like to pull 12E5.
So it's 12E and H.
Right, 12E5, 12H.
I move for approval, except I'm abstaining on 12E, number 5.
And H, I think.
And we'll pull back 12H.
All right, sir. Need a second?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay, Judge, Commissioners, then for formal action, can we take action on 12E5 to approve?
So moved.
Need a second?
Accepted.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye, motion carries.
So for the record, Commissioner Cuellar abstained from action on 12E5. Linda, you had a concern on 12H?
12H.
Okay.
Yes, Marty?
12H is under the Purchasing Department. This is an agreement that we have forwarded to the company, National Cine Media, and it has recommended changes through our DA's legal counsel, Michael Garza. I'm asking that you, but the company still has not returned that document. I'm asking and recommending that we approve, subject to receipt of the document with the recommended changes, and at that point, we will have it executed. So I recommend approval, subject to those restrictions.
Subject to. So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Virginia, I told you I wouldn't move it up, but ERO is telling us they need one or two other individuals to get here. So we're going to move on to open forum. You're on that list anyway. All right, under open forum, first presenter is Virginia Townsend.
Well, it really doesn't matter. Good morning, everybody. Really doesn't matter if the ERO is here from what I say, for I learned a long time ago that when you have a powerful architectural company and any of us as plain citizens say something, they usually don't listen anyhow. So, but I'm going to say what I have to say because I'm still very disappointed in the design of the building. I don't like 10 stories. I don't like glass. I don't like all that glass. I don't like the fact that the building has no personality whatsoever.
Just a minute. Eli, they're discussing the courthouse. I thought you might be wanting to hear what the comments that are being made. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I think Eli knows, but I'll say it anyhow. No, I wish it had some semblance of Spanish background, of our heritage. Putting a mural on the wall is not going to do it for me. I wanted something that looked, even if it's just the bottom floor and then go up with whatever you need to, but I do not like the design. I guess number one, and I know you guys are working overtime trying to find out where we're going to get the money to pay for it, but I would love to not go forward until we knew where the money was coming from for sure. And trying to save little bits like $6 million out of the trash pickup thing or whatever is going to barely make a spot on how we're going to pay for this building. So I hope somebody is putting a lot of thought into that, because I don't think I've ever seen such hard times. What's going on in the border with these children is absolutely a disgrace. I don't know who is talking about it a lot here, but as a county, it's hurting us all to see this go on. This is the worst time that I can remember of things not going well for all of us. I'm not happy with what the appraisal district has done to the people with trailers. There is just a lot going on that seems terribly unfair to me. Very sorry, but it doesn't put me in the mood to be real cooperative and like whatever I get thrown at me. Sorry, thanks.
Is Rick Godinez here? Okay, well, go ahead. Next presenter is Fern McClarity.
Good morning. In reference to the construction of a new courthouse, I have a question. Will the people get to vote on increasing taxes to build a new courthouse? If the people get to vote on this issue, it will not pass because no one supports increasing taxes or fees, especially during a time when unemployment is high and the economy is struggling to improve. I do not understand how Commissioners Court can propose a tax increase on the people that you represent and see every day. For the last 6 years, at least 30% of our property owners have not paid their taxes on time. These same people have been fined $2.1 million and some have lost their property because your ability to spend has exceeded their ability to earn. The Commissioners Court does not seem to have a problem understanding that we live in the poorest county in the state, but still refuse to cut spending. The Commissioners Court supports changing the state tax law on hospital districts so that the people in Hidalgo County could pay more taxes. Your objective was to bail out hospitals, not improve the health care of the people. In the same way, the courthouse, your object is not to solve a problem, but to create a monument that will take the people 30 years or more to pay off. The temporary courtroom will cost over $2 million, and the remodeling of the bank building $4 million and climbing. You do not seem to care about the impact on the people and the businesses that are creators of jobs and vibrant economy. All you want is a courthouse that is 3 times bigger. You have a basic misunderstanding of poverty. It means no money today, tomorrow, and all the way into the next year. But if you decide to bypass the people, as you have done in creating the RMA and the Passenger Train Authority, sooner or later the people will bypass you. As I said today, we are here to hear how much the new courthouse will cost. A perfectly good building is standing mostly unused each weekday. Oh, some day more than other, but used as a private business would be using their place of business, it would be working 5 days a week. Do you all think that a new courthouse is more important than our security? The number of illegal aliens crossing the Rio Grande Valley has increased 58 to 65% apprehension compared to the same time last fiscal year. The governor today stated 1,000 a day are coming across. The sector encompasses 34,000 square miles. Border Patrol statistics show agents arrested 154,453 illegals in 2013. And a closer look at Border Patrol statistics showed that that was a 363% increase on the OTMs, other than Mexican, arrested from 2011 to 2013. U.S. Representative Cuellar stated the valley is expected to have over 240,000. According to the governor, it will be 365,000 apprehension for the fiscal year 2014. Our safety is at stake. Some have contagious diseases like TB, scabies, measles, chickenpox, and whatever. Again, our safety is at risk, but you are thinking, you think that a new courthouse is more important than the safety of United States citizens. If you must spend money, how about securing the border and stop some of the OTMs from hurting us again like they did on 9/11? Speaking of our safety, how about all those guns missing? Where are they and whose hands are they in? This is what your responsibility is to the citizens that pay their taxes and do the right thing and obey the laws. And we're asking y'all as the Commissioners Court to make us safe, keep us safe. Do something now instead of spending this a horrible amount of money on a building that, like I said, that are not being used daily. And look up here at this building, if you want, Virginia was talking about glass, the very top row, look how dirty it is. Can you imagine with the building, with all the glass that you're looking at on that new building, how we're going to keep it clean? Thank you.
Next presenter is Ramon Salinas.
Yes, good morning. I'm
Morning.
here concerning about Colonia Country View subdivision. We asked there for drainage, for public lights, for trash. About three and a half years ago, we never got no results. And I seen with Mr. Precinct 2, Mr. Palacios, he's done a lot of improvements there. And we haven't seen nothing. And I hope we can get some results out of that, because we pay our taxes. We pay over $1 million in taxes in the past 10 years, just in that colonia. I think this is, thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you. Next presenter is Opal Billman.
Good morning. My name is Opal Billman. I was sued for divorce in 1996. The court took control of our community property and refused to return any of it to the two owners or to dismiss the case when Joe died as required by law. Judges use political positions of power and their authority to make the decisions without compliance to the law. When an individual petitions the court for divorce, the court has the authority to give the owners a fair division of their property and return it to them. The court cannot, in the United States of America, assume the position of owner and do what the court pleases with the community property that the court does not own. The court had no authority to appoint a manager for our community property, allow the court-appointed manager to organize a corporation, and then award our community property to the court through the recently formed corporation. County property records reflect that in divorce case number C328196E, the court awarded the community property of Opal and Joe Billman to the Billman Real Estate Ltd. Corporation on the foundation of deed number 1181375E. Deed number 1181375E is a list of descriptions of land which comprise the community property of Joe and me. The deed is signed by Joe only, therefore conveys no community property. It is a vacuous, empty, bogus deed that the courts are using to sell our community property and take over our mineral rights without any payment to us. I am not all right with being fleeced. All of my land and all of my income, the court just took away from me. I was awarded a promissory note, a debt, imprisonment. In compliance with the law, the land and mineral rights remain the community property of the estate of Joe Billman and me. Cause number CCD 1473E states the court sold 2 parcels of our land for a street to the city of Mission for $280,000. Who got the money? Cause number CCD 1473E also states the court sold the land through the Billman Real Estate Ltd. And that the court's corporation retained the mineral rights. The corporation has never had ownership of the mineral rights or of our land. The estate of Joe and I have sold nothing. The estate of Joe and I have been paid not one single penny for any of our land or mineral rights. And we have never sold our mineral rights. When Joe filed for divorce, the corporation did not exist. Deed number 1181375E, signed by Joe only, transfers nothing to this newly formed corporation. When Joe filed for divorce, the first of all,
30 seconds, Ms. Billman.
anything else, okay, I'll finish up, and I thank you for your time. When Joe filed for divorce, first of all, before anything else could be done, required from the court was a fair division of our community property between Joe and me, period. That was the judge's only job. And I've got more, but there's always next week. Y'all have a good week. Thank you.
Next presenter is Martha Sorley.
Good morning. My name is Marta Sanchez, and I'm a community organizer and coordinator of in La Unión del Pueblo Entero. And I'm here because by I guess by the grace of God, we heard that you are voting today on the trash collection. And, or at least you starting the conversation on the three choices that they all have to choose from. And that we're really concerned because we've been talking to several people in the colonias, which is this is going to be affecting, of course, the people, the poorest people in the colonias, because the people that can afford, they already hire a company to pick up the trash. And so we're really concerned that this issue hasn't been brought to the community. I mean, since they're the ones that are going to be more affected. And so we ask in the court that you postpone your decision until you take this issue to the community and and have community forums for the people so they can give you ideas and they can understand why is this change is going to happen and ideas that they have on how to resolve this issue in a positive manner, because it is going to be it's a very detrimental for people who are they've been saying, it's like this is one of the worst time, and we are really need to talk about that with the community. So we're really concerned with this issue. We hope that you postpone your decision until later on. And by the way, I check around. I heard that one of they all agree with, or at least you got a proposal from the company that you're going to choose has been $18 a month. And I check around, and some of the other companies are right now charging less than $18 a month. So that means that they're not getting a very good deal for being the company that is going to be providing this service for the whole county. So anyway, we're asking you to please take in consideration and take this to the community. There is a rise and Lupe, who are willing to take people to these community centers so we can discuss this issue and resolve it in a really good manner, and so that everybody can come to an agreement on what is the best for the county. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Next presenter is Elda Gonzalez.
Buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Elda González. Soy residente de la colonia Taurus 14 en el precinto 3, el área noroeste de Mission. Y también soy miembro de Lupe y líder de colonia ahí en donde yo resido. Y estamos enterados. ¿Ya con eso empiezo? Sí. Estamos enterados acerca de lo que acaba de hablar Martita, de las 3 propuestas que tienen para la recolección de basura. Y queremos pedir. Bueno, yo vengo quizá a recalcar que se posponga esa decisión o esa votación que se va a llevar a cabo, porque realmente el cambio afectará bastante a las personas de bajos recursos y a muchos de los que vivimos en colonias.
My name is Elda Gonzalez and I live in Colonia Taurus 14 and I'm a member of Lupe. We're here to talk about the 3 proposals that you have planned for the topic of the trash collection, and we want to ask that you postpone your vote on this issue, as it will affect the population who live in the colonias.
Quisiéramos que hubiera oportunidades de consultar más con los habitantes y escuchar otras opiniones, porque las personas que tienen ahorita más bajos entradas de dinero serían los más perjudicados, incluyendo las personas de la tercera edad que solo cuentan para sobrevivir con su cheque de retiro.
So we'd like for you to give us the opportunity to consult on this issue and listen to our opinions, because the people who are a lower income are going to be most affected by these decisions.
Creemos que se puede encontrar una solución para este problema, pero que se tienen que considerar ciertos detalles que solamente la población que está viviendo esto puede exponer, para que el cambio sea positivo tanto para los residentes de colonia como para las autoridades, ¿verdad?, que son los responsables.
So we think we can find a solution to this problem, but we need to consider the people who are going to, who have this need and who are going to be most affected, so that they can be a part of the solution in affecting the colonias positively.
Es todo. Muchas gracias por su atención.
The next presenter is Yvette Salinas.
So good morning. My name's Yvette Salinas. I'm an organizer for La Unión del Pueblo Entero, and my comment is for all of the commissioners and, of course, the county judge. On behalf of Lupe, I just want to say thank you for meeting with us these past couple of weeks on the issue of public light, which is a very important issue for all of our members and for the general Colonia population. So we'd just like to say thank you, and that thank you for opening your doors to us, and that we continue to, we look forward to working closely with you all to look for solutions for this issue of public light. Thank you.
Thank you. Next presenter is Bobby Villarreal.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Bobby Villarreal with the County Judge's Office. We're just wanting to apprise the court and the public that Judge Garcia and Sheriff Guerra, Emergency Management, and the Health Department have been meeting, or did have a meeting last week with the Deputy Chief Ortiz with the Border Patrol concerning the situation that's occurring on the border with all the Central American immigrants that have been crossing. They've apprised us of the situation. We stand ready to assist in any way we have, but at this point, the federal government has been handling it. Right now, it's primarily a federal issue at this point. It's a policy matter that's making, I guess, allowing this to occur. But right now, there's no significant financial impact on the county resources at this point. We did take a tour at the invitation of Congressman Cuellar on Saturday. Judge Garcia, myself, Sergio Munoz, the State Representative Terry Canales, and Senator Eddie Lucio. We did a tour of the facility there in McAllen on Military Highway. It is a very heartbreaking situation to see the children that are there, but we just wanted to inform the public and the Commissioner's Court that the perception in the national media and the local media is that many of these people are staying here. They are primarily being processed and shipped to parts to the north. And there are OTMs, as they've been discussed, family units that are being processed, put on buses, and given orders to show up for court later. However, I guess we just want to make sure that people understood that primarily most of these folks are going northward. Has not, to our knowledge, been a significant impact locally. Right now, from the statistics, crime has not risen as of this point last year to this point this year. So we just want to apprise everybody that the community is still safe. This is a federal issue, but we are looking into the situation, and that we are planning probably Monday of next week to have a briefing with the Border Patrol and all the local stakeholders from the cities and others, so that everybody's on the same page and we exactly know what is going on. And again, this is a federal issue that's occurring, and it's no fault of the locals. And our Border Patrol is doing the best that they can with the situation that's been handed to them. But we just wanted to apprise everybody of that. And if y'all have any questions, feel free to call me at the office, and we can continue to discuss this further. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I noticed we have our newly elected County Democratic Party Chair here with us today, and I took the liberty of writing his name down under open forum to see if subject to his consent, if he's willing to tell us the status of the appointment process or the nomination process for Constable Precinct 4 and Hidalgo County Sheriff. Morning.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Thank you very much for the invitation and the opportunity to inform you and the public of our process of appointing the nomination for the sheriff on the Democratic ballot. The County Executive Committee has been able to follow several principles. One is we want to make sure that this is an open, fair process so that anybody who has a desire to be sheriff can apply for it. Two, that it be transparent. As you know, the Democratic principles are that all votes are open to the public, every single vote, and our deliberations and our process will also be open to the public. And the third would be deliberative. And that means that we've put together a process where we're working on a questionnaire for all candidates. We're vetting the candidates to make sure that they are good candidates first and foremost to be sheriff. And then secondly, that there'll be good Democratic candidates for at least our ticket. The recommendation so far to the CEC, the final recommendation is still in progress. We have a subcommittees working on that, but it looks like the day of the forum where we'll present those questions will be July 26th. From that point is when we will have the vote. Since we have so many candidates that have applied, in the event that one candidate does not get the majority, we have decided to do 2 rounds, in which if one candidate doesn't get the majority, we'll take the top 2 vote getters and we'll do the second round of voting to determine who gets the majority and who will be the Democratic nomination in November.
Is that going to be the same process for the constable?
That's correct. The recommendation for the constable position is going to be the exact same process, with the date being on the 24th, which is the Thursday before that Saturday. So we'll do the constable first. Of course, we have it's going to be here in this hall for the constables forum is what we have decided to do, because it's a much smaller group voting. There's much less candidates. We have not yet, because of the public interest and the potential that forum may be televised, we have not yet determined the forum yet for the sheriffs, but once we do, we'll make sure we get that out to you and the public.
Thank you, sir. All right, at this time, we're going to be moving item 15A up for consideration on our agenda. It's an election matter, and it's the appointment of the early voting ballot board.
Good morning. Amanda Valdez for the Elections Department. Appointment of the early voting ballot board for July 1st, 2014 Democratic primary runoff election, and the appointment of the central counting station for the primary runoff election. I'm going to pass around a list of the recommendations, and Mr. Godinez is going to give you his recommendations for the slots that are available.
If I may, Judge, again, thank you, Judge, Commissioners, for the opportunity to present and make our recommendation for the ballot board. You have before you 13 members of the County Executive Committee that have volunteered their time to be on the ballot board. It's your discretion. We also have a recommendation. If you'd like to follow that recommendation on these potential candidates, the judges for the ballot board members would, our recommendation, the CEC's recommendation is Kenna Giffen, Julio Garza, and Peter Salinas. The alternate judge recommendations for the Central Counting Station would be Aaron Alonso and Christina Walker.
Any questions?
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Your Honor.
sir.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. Have a good day.
All right, let's move back to item 6A.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Julia Benitez Sullivan, Public Affairs Director. We have on the agenda, actually, I'd like to call your attention to our WIC program. Hidalgo County's WIC program has joined a prestigious group by being recognized as one of only 25 community agencies and medical facilities in the U.S., Canada, Mexico, India, and Brazil to receive the 2014 Community Care Award from the International Board of Certified Lactation Consultant Examiners and the International Lactation Consultant Association. Here to tell us more about the WIC, about this is the WIC Program Director, Norma Longoria, and Diana Gordona, the Breastfeeding Coordinator. You guys will come up. And then you'd like to say a few words and then take a picture.
Good morning.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. We received this award for our baby cafe that we have open at DHR, and where we see pregnant women and breastfeeding women, and we're there too as a support group for these women. And it's been very successful, and we applied for the award, and we were very fortunate to receive it. So that's what we're here for today, to inform you all of that. And we'll be talking more about breastfeeding when I come up with the budget amendment.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Congratulations.
right, item 6B.
I'd like to call to the podium Region 1 Representative Tina Atkins, please. On the agenda is approval of proclamation in support of Region 1 ESC, My Brother's Keeper, Building Ladders of Opportunity Initiative. And we called her up to present her with this proclamation. And it's in alignment with President Obama's My Brother's Keeper initiative. Region 1 is partnering with Texas Valley Communities Foundation, FAR San Juan Alamos Independent School District, and the Office of Congressman Ruben Hinojosa to target and address the needs of Latino and African American male youth in the Rio Grande Valley. Would you like to say a few words?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So we were really pleased to be a part of My Brother's Keeper. President Obama signed a memorandum in February of this year announcing My Brother's Keeper. In the Rio Grande Valley, we have over 400,000 students, half of whom are young males. We are also 98% Hispanic. So My Brother's Keeper seeks to give additional opportunities to young Hispanic males and African American males. And we're very pleased to have this collaboration with the Texas Valley Communities Foundation, with FAR San Juan Alamo School District, and with the Office of Congressman Ruben Hinojosa, and very pleased to bring this proclamation to you because we truly believe that collaboratively we can make a difference in young men's lives. We can improve matriculation to college and to gainful employment, and we are very pleased to bring this proclamation to you.
Okay.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Got a little bit ahead.
I'll give it.
All right, next item, item number 6C.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Michael Leo with the County Judge's Office. We have two items. Item 1, presentation by contracted architect, ERO Architects for acceptance and approval by the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court of the schematic design for the new Hidalgo County Courthouse. With the court's permission, we'd like to turn it over to Brian Godinez and Eli Ochoa from ERO Architects for their presentation.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. It's a pleasure being with you all here today. As you can see, the final deliverable for the schematic design package for the new courthouse is being delivered to you. It's also being given to various departments that had a vested interest in this particular project. I want to present to you all, and I don't know if this is the final deliverable book. I'm going to very briefly go over a little presentation. We don't need to open this if you don't want. There is a slide presentation that's given in paper form. Looks like this. This is what I'm going to be going over. Just a real quick little housekeeping, just to let you all know. This was a collaborative effort by 3 team members, ourselves who are leading the team. We also had HDR, which is a huge, large judicial consultant, an architect and engineering firm. They have offices in Austin, Dallas, and Houston. They have been ranked as the second largest judicial architectural firm by the World Construction Report. And we also had part of our team, Balfour Beatty. Balfour Beatty is the one who supported us in deriving the numbers that I'm going to be presenting to you all here in just a second. Balfour Beatty is one of the largest construction companies, certainly here in the state of Texas. HDR and Balfour are responsible for the 2 latest courthouse projects in the state of Texas. One of those being Hays County, which I think some of the commissioners, certainly some of the people in the audience have toured. The other one was the Ellis County Courthouse, and then they were also involved in the restoration of the Hood County Courthouse. That's the makeup of our team. Just to let you know where we are, if you'll turn to page 3, we have completed, and this is a deliverable of the schematic design. You'll see that there are still 4 more phases to go in this project, but we are between the schematic and the design development phase. Any questions? If not, I'll go on. Our deliverable to y'all by contract is on page 4. It was the site plan, the floor plans, elevations, outline specifications, some renderings. You can read through there, area and volume calculations, descriptions on structural, mechanical, and electrical systems. All this was done in an effort to get to this number that we can then use as the starting point from where you move forward from this point on in the process. So all this is contained within the book also. If we look also now at the what's in the book, it's on page 6 of your handout. It includes the project summary, which is under tab 1, and you'll see the items that are there, the narratives on the architectural, civil, structural, MEP. It has a program that I'm going to go over very briefly here for y'all. It has the drawings of the individual plans, and it has a cost estimate that I'm also going to be going over with y'all here very briefly. And then the last tab, which is tab 4, is the visualizations. On page 8, you will see on the far right-hand corner, highlighted in blue, is a column that says original program. That is the original program that came from the master plan that was adopted by the county. I don't know if y'all can remember this document, but
Eli, is it like page 8 of this packet or the
yeah,
big
no,
one?
it's page 8 of the handout. I'm just using the handout,
right,
Judge. Is everybody on page 8? You see that blue column?
Mine is not numbered. I'm not sure if the others are.
Yeah, it's very light. It's on the.
It's very light on the lower right-hand corner, Judge.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, we'll make sure and make them
Bigger
big
and
and
darker.
bold next time.
Bigger.
You'll see that the program square footage based on the master plan was 470,000 square feet. This was derived by numerous meetings with stakeholders. We went over all the master plan committee. I don't know if y'all remember that, but y'all appointed several members each to that committee. It was a committee that was made up of approximately 50 people. And then we also have directly to the left is the revised space program as designed. And one of the things to note here is that the revised program is actually less than what was the original master plan program. That in itself is a feat because typically it goes the other direction. I think this just really speaks to the work that was done by the individual departments. We really nailed the program requirements. I do want to note that a lot of the spaces actually come from judicial standards, and that is a guideline that we use to make sure that we would not start developing a program that was kind of a wish list of spaces, but actually a very functional list. So the schematic design addresses that. Now, I want to go ahead and go over what everybody's been waiting for. If you'll turn to page, sorry, Judge, mine doesn't have a page number either. There's a second to the last page. On the top, it says project construction cost limitation. Looks like this. Do you all see that?
Yes.
We see the number on the
You all
bottom.
on that?
We can see the number on the bottom.
If you go straight to the number on the bottom without beating around the bush, $127 million, $705,000. $127,705,000. That is a construction cost limitation of the project as it is designed currently right now in the schematic design book. Now, that does not mean that by adoption of this document that you are, number one, agreeing with the 127 million. It doesn't mean that you're agreeing with the design. It is simply, the design is a direct response to the requests that were made from the master plan. And the cost is associated with that solution. So in moving forward, you all have the discretion to alter anything, to make changes in any of the design. So what I want to make sure when we go away from this is none of this is actually set in stone. That is still a very fluid, very pliable project at this point, but this simply gives us a data point from which we can start to make whatever necessary changes that the Commissioners Court feels that they need to make. It does address all the program issues, and now we do know that the cost is actually estimated to be about $127 million. Now, as you all know, when you have a project, that is the cost of the brick and mortar. That is the actual cost of construction. In the planning process that the Commissioners Court may want to take on if they choose to continue with this project is what we call a total project cost. The total project cost brings into the numbers the cost of fees and services, surveying, things of that nature, testing of materials, fixture, furniture, equipment, some technology equipment. And so when you look at a total project cost, you really do need to look beyond just the cost of the building, because there's going to be other costs associated with having to construct this building. And if you'll look there on the last page of your handout, it includes fees, security consultants, movable furnishings, security equipment, courthouse technology. There's also an owner's contingency there of close to $7.6 million. Again, this is for budgeting purposes. It's just to make sure that we have everything covered that we can possibly have covered. Now, if you look at the total project cost, that's all in with everything in, you're looking at about $157 million. Okay? So what I want to make clear today is that is in 2014 numbers. Those are current numbers today. What we've seen happening in the industry, obviously, and y'all can see it as you travel to Houston, Dallas, or Central Texas area, is there's a lot of construction going on. That construction is costing the cost of constructing to go up at a very rapid pace. At the time that we prepared this, we were looking somewhere in the neighborhood of about a 4% to 6% hike in our current region. In other parts of the state, obviously, it's much higher. But that's what we were anticipating. So we did some cost escalation factors for y'all, assuming that the decision to go is not going to occur, say, until 3 years out. which would be 2014. And you'll see there that if we take an assumption of a 4% escalation, the 157 million actually turns into about 177 million. And the 2017 number at a 6% escalation rate, which is where we feel we really are, probably a little closer to, that's $187 million. So one of the things to really take away from this is a real need for a speed to market playbook to make sure that we move forward. Just to put these into some numbers that you all may be able to grasp a little easier, every day we wait is about a $25,000 add to the cost of this project. If you total that up or multiply that out by 365 days, you're looking at about $9 million every year that's going to be added on if we use the 4% escalation rate. So speed to market is certainly very critical. I'll entertain any questions if y'all have any.
I'd like to ask a question. If Virginia were here, she'd want to ask you about the pros and cons on the windows.
Well, that's
good. She believes we got too many windows and it takes away from the style of the building and may produce some other type of problem.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to address this. And Virginia's a dear friend of mine, and I don't know if you saw us chuckling in the back, but we've had these conversations in the past as we were putting this whole project together, certainly after the last presentation that we had to y'all. If y'all go back and research the master plan book, one of the visions that the committee had was to provide daylighting and views. And that was very critical for that committee, and so critical that they asked for it to be placed in this master plan book. That's how important they felt daylighting and views were. We also went over several organizational scenarios or strategies, and what's depicted in this schematic design book is one of those three scenarios that we went over that the master plan committee ended up actually selecting. So as I had said at the beginning, this design is a direct response to what was requested from the master plan committee. And I certainly am sensitive to the comments that were made earlier. The beauty of architecture is it's subjective, and what one person thinks is good, another person may not think it's good. But this does address all the questions and all the desires and visions of the master plan committee.
The issue that she brought up was the cost of heating and cooling would be greater because of windows.
Well, it's going to be slightly greater, but not to the extent that people might think that it is. Just to give you an example, if you look on this particular building, the windows are all, for the most part, all facing north, and we do that to mitigate heat gain into the building. One of the things that you can't see, you can't really see it in your handout here, but there are also some shading devices for the glass. And so everything that can be done to mitigate heat gain into this project has been accomplished. That's the reason why the courthouse is situated the way that it is, and that's the reason why the glass is situated where it's at. If you'll notice that the west and the south facades have smaller punched windows, and that again is to mitigate heat gain into the building. So from an energy conservation perspective, we were able to achieve the desires of the master plan committee and still provide the daylighting and views and mitigate heat gain to one of the greatest extents possible by opening up the windows to the north. So this is a strategy that we use both from an engineering point of view and an architectural point of view to be able to get those daylighting and views and not increase the heat gain into the building.
Mr. Ochoa.
Yes,
going back to the master plan, originally how we started with projections from 60 to 100 million. At that time, my question is going to be, from the standpoints of construction, the cost on elevated construction versus reducing the elevated construction to spread out the square feet. Is there more savings on elevated construction or stretching it out? Because what I see on the master plan, I see a lot of open space.
Right.
So as we're going further and trying to figure out what we were originally trying to digest was $60 to $100 million. Now we're somewhere amongst the new numbers is about 160 or 180, $180 million with soft costs and all. What are your recommendations going to be to the court in regards to reducing it? Because at this point in time, $180 million is not even at the. I don't foresee as something we can digest in the immediate future with our budget constraints. So I guess my question to you is, where do we go from here? Obviously, the price tag of $180 million is something that's going to be more of a far-reached, monetary demand without raising taxes. What would you recommend to the court?
Well, let me go back to your very first initial question, which was the cost of going up versus the cost of going horizontal. One of the major components that's in this particular facility is the defendants in custody. They take up almost the entire first floor. And in order to keep those defendants in custody separated from the public, it really makes more sense for us to go vertical, because we can take vertical elevators and move them up and down and keep them totally separated from the public. And this building does have defendant in custody cores. If y'all want, that's basically where all the inmates are. As you can, from just touring our existing courthouse, the inmates are in amongst all the general population. That's really a no-no from a safety perspective. So if we start going horizontal, now we have to move those inmates, instead of moving them vertically in their own little separate corridor paths, vertical corridor paths, we have to do it horizontally. And it makes it much, much more expensive and much more difficult to be able to accomplish that separation of public from those inmates. Because if we went horizontal also, the other issue that we would need to contemplate is it is going to be slightly less expensive, but when you look at what you have to do to take care of those defendants in custody, it actually reverses, and we're better off going vertically. The open space is certainly available for additional construction in the future if the county ever needs to contemplate whether you want to do some kind of structured parking. Certainly leaves you the land available to be able to do that. These are just all options that really give you the best use of the land right now, so that you can use it however you'd like to use it in the future.
Yeah.
Now, going forward, there's a number of things that we can do. If you wanted to reduce a glass, we can reduce a glass. I think, there's certainly an exercise that we can go through. But for the most part, most of the items that are in this project are pretty much very standard for a courthouse. There's nothing elaborate in the design. If you'll look at the cost estimate, there's not any quote-unquote gold plating or anything of that nature. It's just simply the cost of this building and what's required for technology. What's required for technology and what's required to make sure that we take care of the function of the courthouse. So it's a very utilitarian facility. We just happen to make it look very nice.
I know I asked this question in the last workshop that we had. Obviously, the functions of the courthouse, obviously when we build this building, everything will be housed in the courthouse itself, other than the district attorney's office. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then on the existing facility, the existing courthouse right now, who will be housed and what function will it serve?
At this point in time, the way the schematic design has been contemplated, we're actually looking to vacate all the functions that are in the existing courthouse and putting them in the new courthouse. So the only courthouse function that would be off-site is going to be the DA's office. But the DA still has a component within the new courthouse. So while their main offices are across the street to the south in the admin building, they do have a presence and a function within the courthouse.
Right, and I know I read the report. The initial cost of remodeling the existing courthouse, I think there was a projection of about $25 million just to rehab what we have existing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And that was our best estimate at the time that we prepared the master plan. I may want to let you all know under tab 3 is there are some cost-saving strategies that have already been developed, and they are in the book.
Eli,
Yes, sir.
the judge had raised a question regarding the amount of space that was. Well, Judge, that you could raise a concern or question regarding.
Well, the present amount of space that we have in this present building that we have as a courthouse is 100 and I don't remember the exact number, but it's a little over 100,000.
That's if you include the annex building. If you just look at the building proper, you're probably somewhere around 93.
And what we're designing and what we're building that hopefully will be adequate and accommodate the needs of our county as far as the courthouse is concerned into the next century is approximately 400 and what?
470,000 square feet. Now, remember that.
And this 470,000 square foot building is what we're looking at in the schematic design.
That's correct, sir. And that has 2 shell floors on the 9th and 10th floors for the addition of 6 more courts. Right now on the 10th floor is the Court of Appeals also. So the other half of the building and the entire 9th floor would be shells so that you can move into those as you need to, as the county continues to grow and you get new courts.
Any other questions? Then the action needed is acceptance of this schematic design.
Is that what we need?
For acceptance and approval
of the schematic design.
Just one more question. After accepting this, you said that there's a potential chance of the firm or working with this plan and modifying it based on whatever the financial needs and the demands and everything. At what phase is that? Would we have to engage in you with your firm again to be able to do that, or is this still a working model?
Well, number one, it is a working model. Number 2 is we were hired strictly to do the schematic design package. If you wish to continue, there is no obligation on the part of the county to continue with ERO architects. That's certainly up to y'all's discretion. But it does give you the basis from going forward to make any modifications at this point. But now we have some real numbers. If y'all can remember when we did the master plan, there were some numbers that were what we call quote-unquote planning numbers. Well, these numbers are becoming much more real now. And so now that we know what these numbers are, as the county proceeds forward with whoever they choose to select, if they choose to select to go forward, using this as their baseline from which to start any kind of discussions on what materials to change, what items to take out, things of that nature. So now we know that what a design that addresses a master plan, what it costs. And from that point, you can either move up or down, however you like. The one thing to note, as I had stated earlier, is there is a real need for a speed to market. And, the one really takeaway from this is if we're going to move forward as a county, we need to make a decision quickly whether we're going to do it or not, because the cost is going up very quickly. And it's all really tied into to fuel, because virtually any material that's used on the construction site either has some kind of petrochemical for the manufacture of that material, or you have to haul it and ship it. So either whether you ship a finished product or whether you ship a component product, it's a major cost is the cost of shipping. And as fuel prices continue to rise, you're going to see that the cost of construction is going to pretty much follow the same line.
Any other questions? Go ahead, sir.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, next item, item number 7. Mr. Guerra?
Judge, there's a 2 to this one.
That's correct, I'm sorry.
Do you want me to read the item? You want to go ahead?
Yes, let's move on to 6C2.
The item just reads as follows: discussion and possible action regarding the next steps for the new Hidalgo County Courthouse.
The next step is the design development phase, am I correct?
Correct.
And that's another set of plans.
Yes, sir.
All right, and is that, well, why don't we have Eli explain it? Ms. Eli? Yes, sir. Would you please explain to the community the next step, what's involved, and what will an architect be doing? What kind of work would you be providing, or whoever is selected?
The next step.
Yes, the next step in the process is called design development. And design development is where you refine what was designed in the schematic design. And if I had to describe it, it would be putting the meat on the bones. What you have right now are the bones. So you have a basic structure of how you're going to move forward. It's just now, how are you going to then structure it at that point? And so the schematic design and the description of schematic design is actually in your book also. So there's a set of deliverables that are typically very contractual, but in a metaphorical point of view, it's really putting the meat on the bones and further defining the project.
Right. And the issue before us is what action are we going to be taking regarding this next step?
Judge, just so that I can expand a bit, the next step as far as the county would be concerned would either be to do the process that we have done before to nominate firms from our pool of architectural firms, approved pool, or go out on an RFQ for a project-specific design with the 3 components that are still left, as opposed to the normal 4, on the design and construction of a courthouse. So it would be up to the court to decide which way they wanted to go. All right?
And the choices are, we either look into our pool?
Either nominate from the pool those architectural firms that have in their statements of qualifications the design element for this type of structure, narrow it by that type of category, because they all do disclose to us the disciplines that they are suited for. Either that, or you go out and secure a request for qualifications for an architect for those qualified firms in the area of design of these type of structures, and go for that.
Oh, we're not doing that right now, we're just moving.
No, sir, I wanted to let you
continue,
know
right?
what the next process was,
Okay.
the next step for the county.
Do you want us to act on what
No,
process to
just
take at
to-
all?
You don't have it on here, but,
Just to
well, you do
continue.
have that you can act, but it's up to you. First is the decision. Are you going through the pool, or are you going to go through a project-specific procurement process?
When do we take that action?
At the time you all direct me to do it.
Next meeting or whatever.
Yes.
All right, well, put it on for next meeting that way we can decide whether we're going to be.
What choices you have?
Going into the pool or
For
opening it
discussion,
up?
yes, sir. Certainly. Okay.
Judge, if I may, would then, at the point that Marty's ready to, or has something on the agenda, where could we?
Well, technically, if you
Where
go
could
that
we
route.
what, Marty?
I was going to ask.
If you go that route, at
Well,
that
Marty,
point.
Just a minute, Marty. What were you asking?
I was going to ask at what point we could look at this project maybe from a value engineering standpoint to get the best bang for the dollar.
That may be when we get the construction plans.
That would be included in the next phase
In the next
of
phase?
your architectural contract.
I think it would be important also.
Because in the design development phase, as Mr. Ochoa was describing, is where you're going to incorporate that value design, that value engineering.
Engineering?
I guess mine's a simple question. When we get into the design development phase, is there phases within that phase to make sure that we value engineer before they go out and develop building plans and
Yes.
whatnot?
Yes.
So that we don't release, within that phase, there's multiple releases within that phase, because I'd be afraid that at the middle, we engage in this design development phase, and they just run through without
that would
having
be
the
the
opportunity
phase.
to value engineer this.
That would be the phase.
Okay.
That you'd be working very closely.
If I understand correctly, we're just gonna, so we can continue and then decide.
Correct, but I will
Right.
caution the court. Let's just say, given the figures you've been given today, and round it off to 160 million,
Whatever the number is.
you would still, when you go that step in selecting an architect, you do need to secure the fees for that architect. And you're talking anywhere from a 5% to a 7%, 7.5% of construction cost.
But that-
So
but
that's
we would
anywhere from
negotiate that.
8, certainly. But I'm
Or-
saying, just so that we know that at the point you also approve a contract for that design and construction of a new, you need to have that money in place. Not for the building itself, but for the engineer, for the architectural fees.
Right, no, that's understood, yes.
Valde and Judge and Commissioner, also recommend that we sit. I know we have an item on the agenda today on financial advisors, but I don't think that we've crossed the bridge on the question of the financing aspect. That
No,
at
we
the
haven't.
same time we're working before we release. We might go through the poll and go through that process, but we have to immediately sit with our financial advisors as
Exactly.
well as budget and all to assure that whatever we're going after, we're going to financially be able to digest.
You don't want to invest, so far, what we've already invested in this phase, but the new one, which would be at a minimum, let's say, $8 million, and not have, just own plans and not have an end goal, which is the construction of the building. Okay?
Am I correct in stating, Marty, that in our pool of architects, how many do we have? Before
Oh,
we-
I don't know that number, Judge, I apologize, but I don't know right now.
Approximately.
At least
Am I
20?
correct that none of
At
them
least
have?
20.
That none of them have ever built a courthouse?
I would have to go through their statements of qualifications.
Okay.
They would tell us whether they've built industrial buildings, commercial buildings, institutional buildings, that would be, but I would think that, yes,
Yes, if
a
that were the
project
case, we would-
specific may be the route to go for the county, in which you narrow the field to those architectural firms that have focused and have as their forte the construction of courthouses.
They would have to partner up with some of these
That is, joint
national
ventures are
firms.
permitted. Yes,
All right.
certainly. Okay.
All right, item number 7.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners. Item 7A, 1 and 2, there's no action to be taken unless there's action, unless we have agenda item further down to take that action. Item B, I'm going to ask Mr. Palacios to give the court an update on our first and second floor administration building.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning, sir.
Yes. Okay, put it on hold, pause it. Okay. Judge, very brief. Commissioners, as I mentioned before, progress of the construction project is moving fairly steadily. We have encountered some issues that we've overcome, nothing major. It's just construction issues that have surfaced, but they were presented and they were discussed. And as per our evaluation and presentation yesterday, we did a preliminary walkthrough in the afternoon and one this morning on items that we feel that are falling a little bit behind, but what we did here is, this presentation today, in essence, is we're bringing you the courthouse to you. So I know in the last pieces, we brought you still pictures, and if you give us a brief, I want to just present to you of what the actual work has been done in the past week. Do we have a sound? Probably not. I do apologize. So basically what we have here is the overview of the first floor. The activity of the contractors and the workers. That is the metal studs, the sheetrock, and the drywall at the stairwell in the lobby. The contractors working on the mechanical systems. As you can see, they're working on putting all the metal studs and correcting the plumbing. They're finalizing the mechanical systems, as you see there. The plumbing, as you can see, is also been to completion on the first and second floor. The mechanical systems have been almost to 100% at a stopping point, complete, pending the metal studs and the rest of the erection of the walls. The plumbing, the copper lines, everything has been above ceiling. The stairwell inside the facility, that's been complete. The concrete has been poured, as you can see. The electrical raceway, everything basically above the ceiling is almost to completion. The contractor's moving, again, fairly steadily. There's items that have to be completed prior to them introducing the second phase. The sheetrock is moving fairly along. The City of Edinburgh was out there yesterday of obtaining the permit for the second floor. As you can see, one side of the walls, as you can see there, has sheetrock and the other one doesn't. So the contractor is taking the foresight of moving forward and taking that first step forward of the leveling of the floor, as you can see. Change order that was brought to you, that's come to complete. That's on the second floor and the first floor. Electrical conduits have been already in place, pending the inspectors to approve, which was done yesterday. The overhead ceiling, the plumbing and electrical. More electrical on the second floor, metal studs, air conditioning equipment, all of it is on site. That's some of the remaining demolition that was there from the existing courthouse. I'm sorry, Commissioner's Court. Self-leveling in various offices. So basically, aside from the still pictures, we brought you a short video. I have copies, duplicates, for your viewing at a slower pace. But that is basically, and if you observe the cleanliness, Commissioners, usually a construction site is not always this clean, but the contractor and everybody involved has done a good job of keeping it up to par and in good working order. Do you have any questions?
Looking good. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Guerra?
No, that'll do it. Thank you. Judge, I'm going to move on to item C. I'm asking the court to accept a settlement check, or accept the check from Travelers Insurance Company in the amount of $9,392.32. This is a reimbursement in an amount that exceeded our SIR in connection with a claim, case number 710-CV-00268.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D is an acceptance of a settlement check that I'm asking the court to consider and take action on from Endeavor General Agency, LLC. The dollar amount is $13,741.82, and this will settle an auto accident with one of our county vehicles.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item E is discussion, consideration, action on rescheduling the court meeting of Tuesday, July 1st, 2014. Judge, Commissioners, as I've been working with the court on other Commissioners' Court meetings because of conflicts in schedules, I'm going to ask the court to consider for us to meet on Monday, the 30th, for our Commissioners' Court. This is a special meeting, not a regular meeting, and therefore special meetings can be held on any day of the week. So with the court's consideration, I'd like the court to take action for the 30th for us to meet.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
All right, item 8, our Constable, Precinct 3.
Oh, I'm sorry, Linda. Yes, Judge, my apologies. If we could, Mr. Burrows, if we could actually take action with respect to 8D, if we can move on to 11D first.
11D as in David?
11D as in David, yes, sir, before we do 8D. I'm sorry, Linda.
All right. 11D.
11D.
All right. Are you going to present it, brother?
It's
Morning.
under the Sheriff's Office.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning, sir.
Gabriel Castañeda, Sheriff Guerra. 11D, number 1, authorization and approval to accept the grant adjustment notice in reference to Operation Stone Garden FY 2011 special supplemental award of $528,560.26, an authorization for county judge as authorized official to sign and initial required documents.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those
Number
in
2,
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 2, authorization to accept the extension of grant for new termination date 8/15/2014 as noted on the grant adjustment notice.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 3, authorization to pay overtime reimbursable under grant terms and conditions.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And number 4, approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor for the financial year 2011 Operation Stone Garden Supplemental.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Commander.
I'll be back.
And Mr. Boyles? And then now we can take action on 8D.
All right.
All right. Good
Let's
morning,
go
Dan
back
Rolls
to
on
item
behalf of
8A.
Council Government.
Oh, 8A, I'm sorry.
This is the approval and appropriation of the 2011 Operation Stone Garden Supplemental Grant Funds for the Constable Precinct 3 Department in the total amount of $66,413.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
That's all I have, sir.
Item 8B, Precinct 4.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning, sir.
Our agenda item here, Judge, this morning is 81-45067, authorization and approval to purchase through the State of Texas Surplus Property Program under Chapter 2175.001 of the Texas Government Code and Section 262.024-9C for two 2011 Ford Crown Victorias police interceptors, model vehicles, and equipment. The equipment, Judge, Commissioners, light bars, stalker radars, deck lights, and center consoles for the total amount of $15,040.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And also authorization for the purchasing department to process requisition and issue a purchase order and county treasurer to cut a check made payable to the Texas Department of Public Safety after completion of the county auditor's review procedures.
Move for approval.
Second.
Check.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And also, Judge, County Judge and Commissioners here, the other agenda item we've got is A1-45018, the approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor for the confiscation of narcotic funds awarded and received from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security Office.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And approval of 2014 appropriation of funds for Constable Precinct 4, U.S. Treasurer 1259 in the amount of $38,984.04 cents.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. Item 9, our HR.
Morning.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning.
Our item is A144935 for the Elections Department. Discussion, consideration, and approval to extend the following 8 temporary full-time positions through the end of year 2014, effective July 1st, 2014 through 12/30/2014. Slot numbers T 157, 158, 159, 160, 161, 163, 164, and 165. Election clerks, proposed salary $9,560.
Move for approval on 9A, 2, and 3.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
And that included 2 and 3 in
Yes,
your motion?
yes, Judge.
All right, sir. Item 10, our DA's office.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning,
Morning,
Commissioners.
sir.
Mr. Caceres asked that we present this on behalf of the District Attorney's Office. On item 10A, we're going to take no action on that item. On item 10B, this is approval for the following expenses in accordance with the exiting official's expenditure policy. These expenditures are related to compliance with the State Bar's requirement for continuous legal education training, expenses in the amount of $695 for registration, $369.60 for mileage reimbursement, $744.12 for lodging, $186 for meals, the total being $1,994.72 for Mr. Rene Guerra.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge. Commissioners.
Sir, item 11, our Sheriff's Office.
Good morning, gentlemen, once again.
Morning.
Under 11A, I'm going to ask that item 1 and 2, we take no action.
All right, sir.
We go to 11B, and I'm going to start with number 2. Discussion and authorization and approval to execute amendments to the Operation Stone Garden Grant, subrecipient interlocal agreement from the Governor's Division of Emergency Management, Texas Department of Public Safety, between the County of Hidalgo and the City Police Departments of Hidalgo, Mission, FAR, and the Texas Department of Public Safety. And this is subject to approval by the Texas Department of Public Safety Legal Department.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I'll go back to number 1. Approval to appropriate the following budgets for additional award amounts pursuant to the amended sub-recipient interlocal agreements with the County of Hidalgo for the Operation Stone Garden from the Governor's Division of Emergency Management, Texas Department of Public Safety, with the exception of the appropriation for DPS personnel.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
11C, number 1, authorization to accept the grant adjustment notice in reference to the Operation Stone Garden fiscal year 2012 supplement award of $1,015,824.82, and authorization for county judge as authorized official to sign and initial required documents.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 2, authorization to accept extension of grant to new termination dates, 8/15/2014, as noted on the grant adjustment notice.
Move for approval.
Second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 3, authorization to pay overtime reimbursable under the grant terms and conditions.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And number 4, approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditors for the fiscal year 2012 Operation Stone Garden Grant Supplemental.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 5, approval to appropriate the budget for Sheriff's Office portion of the fiscal year 2012 Operation Stone Garden Grant Supplemental in the amount of $168,221.42.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
We go to 11E. I'll read number 2. Discussion, authorization, and approval to execute the Operation Stone Garden Grant Subrecipient Interlocal Agreement for the Governor's Division of Emergency Management, Texas Department of Public Safety, between the County of Hidalgo and the Texas Department of Public Safety, Texas Parks and Wildlife, and the Office of Attorney General, subject to approval by their legal departments of each entity.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And I ask that we take no action on 11E1.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 12, our HR department. No, Health and Human Services Department, sorry.
Morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay. Item A is requesting approval to submit grant application for the DSHS Community Preparedness Section discretionary funding opportunity.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is requesting approval of the following claim invoice with authority for the county treasurer to issue payment check after review, audit, and processing procedures are completed by the county auditor. Kevin Nolting Consulting, LLC, invoice number 418 in the amount of $902.07.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And there's no action on C or D. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 13, Facilities Management.
Judge, Commissioners, Daniel Flores, Facilities Management. Item 13A, Facilities Management requesting approval to process the following invoice as a claim with the authority for the county treasurer to issue payment after review, auditing, processing. Procedures are completed by the auditor's office. This is a filing fee for the Department of State Health Services, sir, for some removal that we did on the old admin building, sir.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 14, Urban County.
Deanna.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning.
Our first item on the agenda is an interlocal agreement. We're asking for your approval between Hidalgo County and the Hidalgo County Irrigation District Number 6 for a project in Precinct 3. This is a Mile 2 bridge improvement project, and we're recommending your approval. However, there was a concern on behalf of the Auditor's Office.
Not contain some terms which I think were forwarded to legal counsel and Urban County and precinct, and the precinct as well, regarding the maintenance of the project once complete, like who's going to maintain what, each party's responsibility regarding maintenance after completion of the project. And also, I think attached to the agreement was a separate project agreement, which normally would be included on the agenda as a separate item because it requires separate approval, separate and specific approval. So we recommend that this item be brought back.
Actually, I've spoken with both, with Mingo from Precinct 3, and I did contact Mr. Crane regarding this item. The road is a county road. Therefore, the road will be maintained by the county. The bridge is also a part of the county road. The irrigation, underground irrigation line is the responsibility of the drainage district.
Irrigation district.
I mean the irrigation district. The agreement was reviewed by our attorney as well as the irrigation district's attorney. Now, Ms. Linda Fong has made a comment regarding one item that should be on the agenda separately, aside from the approval of the interlocal agreement. However, I believe that that is merely a statement saying, yes, we went to Commissioner's Court, and yes, we did approve the interlocal agreement. I don't know, I could not find it in the statute where it said it had to be done separately. I just checked it this morning.
Well, first of all, everything she says is correct, and when you make the motion to approve it, just say that it approves both the interlocal agreement and the other agreement that's attached to it.
Okay. Now, on the issue regarding who maintains what, should that be a part of the agreement, or is it
obvious? In this case, no, because it was you get a county road and a county bridge, which is definitely owned by the county and maintained by the county. Then the other facilities are also owned by the irrigation district, and it's under their duty to maintain their own facilities.
Okay. Mr. Varela is nodding his head. Does that mean you're we need to approve it, Mingo?
Yeah. So we,
All right, sir. We have a motion to approve made by Commissioner Cuellar.
Second.
And a second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item B is a request on behalf of the program requesting your authorization to waive the CDBG redistribution and recapture policy for program year 26, which makes it our 2013. Normally what happens, Judge, is the actual recapture policy says that if a city does not meet a ratio requirement at 1.5 by April 30th, the funds are transferred over to the precinct, and then the precinct decides what happens to that money. What we have experienced in the past is that we end up doing that, and then as soon as we take the action to transfer it into the precinct, we return back to the city. So we have met the ratio for 1.5. We're not in jeopardy of losing any of the money, so we're requesting that you grant us a waiver not to implement that policy this year.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item C is a request on behalf of Precinct 1 requesting the approval for the purchase and installation of a water pump at the Sunset Park baseball fields from Green Thumb Landscaping LLC. The amount would be $2,495, and this will be utilizing the 2008 funding at the precinct.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item D is on behalf of Precinct 3 requesting the approval of a contract extension with HLH Appraisal Services for an additional 6 months to complete the appraisal review reports for the General Land Office project at the Benitez Drain.
move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item E is on behalf of the City of Alton requesting consideration and action to award and enter into a requirements agreement. I'm sorry, this is the City of Alamo. It's a requirements agreement for purchase of materials with Upper Valley Materials LLC for the purchase of hot mix asphalt for a street improvement project identified in one of our work plans. This will be for the actual asphalt, concrete, and delivery service in the amount of $75 per ton, estimated at 190 tons, cost to be about $14,250.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item F is requesting approval of a budget and program amendment for the City of Benitez work plans, fiscal year 24 and 25, which happens to be our 2011 and 2012 funding. The street improvements projects will be canceled, and the funds will be transferred to the Parks and Recreational Facility Improvement line item for additional funding to the Benitez Memorial Park.
Move for approval.
Again.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item G is requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code 262.024A4 for professional engineering services.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Presentation of the scoring grid for the purposes of ranking by Commissioners Court of 3 professional engineering firms. The 3 firms were evaluated for the City of Progreso. Javier Hinojosa Engineering with a grade of 95.67, MGE Civil Engineering with a grade of 88.67, and Shanin Engineering LLC with a grade of 85.33.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
G3 is the authority to negotiate a professional engineering service contract with the highest ranked firm of Javier Hinojosa Engineering.
For approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item H is requesting the approval to recertify Proyecto Azteca as a community housing development organization, a SHODA within the County of Hidalgo.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And our final item is requesting the approval to execute a 2008 through 2012 home SHODA contract with Proyecto Azteca.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 16, Head Start.
Good morning. Our first item has to do with the Memorandum of Understanding, and we're not ready for approval. We're perhaps premature. We thought that by the time that we came to you, PSJ would have already finalized their part of it, so we would like to just have it presented to you and coming back and getting it approved once we get everything from PSJA, and also for Mr. Crane to review. It has been reviewed by our legal counsel, and the Policy Council has approved contingent upon legal reviews and finalization of that Memorandum of Understanding. Under letter B, we have a presentation for discussion and consideration and approval to enter into a Memorandum of Understanding between Hidalgo County Head Start Program and the Community Development Corporation of Brownsville and Community Resource Groups Incorporated, and this is for the purpose of financial literacy education classes for our parents. Administration recommends approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Letter C, presentation for discussion, consideration, and approval of a one-year interlocal agreement for the lease of premises between Edcow Chelsea Independent School District and Hidalgo County Head Start Program. There are 8 classrooms and a kitchen in that in those facilities.
Move for approval.
Second.
Second.
Under letter D, excuse me. Number 1, we have requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under the Texas local.
Excuse me.
A vote.
We had a motion and a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On 16C.
There's a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Got ahead of the game here. Under letter D, we are requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under the Texas Code, Government Code 262.024A4A, Professional Appraisal Services.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Number 2, presentation of the scoring grid for the purpose of ranking by county commissioners of the firms graded and evaluated through the county's approved pool of appraisal services for the appraisal of Head Start leased land and facilities. And there's 3 firms, Leonel Garza Jr. and Associates at 95.33, George Jaime Salazar at 75.33, and Professional Appraisal Services at 82.00.
Move for approval.
Second.
There's a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
And number 3, authority to negotiate a professional appraisal services contract with the number 1 ranked firm of, Leonel Garza Jr. and Associates for the appraisal of the Head Start leased land and facilities.
For approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
I just want to alert the court that we may not need these services. This is in connection with responding to the federal audit related to having a professional appraiser to appraise our properties that we use, the rental properties, as well as land that's leased at below market value, because we do use it for in-kind, but if it becomes necessary, that we would have this ready. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Item 17, Norm.
17. Good morning.
Good morning
Again.
Okay, this is for the WIC Lactation Center. That was what I had referred to earlier. It's a clinical setting available to WIC clients and that need help concerning breastfeeding. And we're going to be opening this up soon, well, once we get this approved. And we were awarded additional funding for the WIC Lactation Center for approval to amend the WIC contract number 2014-045-054 in the amount of $191,677 for the WIC Lactation Center.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Okay. And B is the approval of the certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor for the FY 2014 WIC Lactation Center.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
C is the approval to create the following positions. We would need to have slot 1, a registered nurse, that's International Board Certified Lactation Consultant, and proposed salary is $87,360. Slot 2, Peer Counselor Manager at $27,996. Slot 3 and 4 are for peer counselors at $20,800. And slot 5, a custodian part-time, $8,818 per year at $847 per hour.
Move for approval.
Second.
Norma, these are all under the grant.
Yes.
There's motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And D, approval of appropriation of funds in the $191,677.
Move for approval.
Second.
And then
Motion.
E,
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
E is for the approval of the FY 2014 WIC Lactation Center salary schedule.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, we were also awarded monies for peer counselor, approval to amend the WIC breastfeeding peer counselor grant 2014-045054 in the amount of $4,400.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
B, the approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor for the WIC breastfeeding peer counselor grant.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
C is the approval of the appropriation of funds in the amount of $4,400.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
3, we were awarded additional funds for lactation services. A is the approval to amend the WIC Lactation Services Grant 2014-045054 in the amount of $18,000.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And B is the approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor for the WIC Lactations Grant.
Move for approval.
Second.
Is that for B and C?
B and C.
Yes.
Okay.
There's motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, sirs.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Planning Department,
Raul.
Raul.
Good morning, Commissioners. Raul Sin, Planning Administrator. 2 items on the agenda. First, the reimbursement financial guarantee for Sendero Trails Phase 1 subdivision. They're requesting a $1,000 reimbursement for the installation septic tank. We have the letter from the health. Everything's in order, so
Move for approval.
Second.
no objection.
There's motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Second item is AMV subdivision, Precinct 4, reimbursement again of $1,500 for the septic tank. And again, we do have the letter from health. Everything's in order.
Move for approval.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 2 would be discussion, possible action on accepting participation from JGF Enterprises LP for road construction, Cesar Chavez Road. This is in Precinct 4. This is a project that there's a development going in. They're escrowing the money for the material. The requirement is typically 1/3 of the side of the road that you're facing. In this case, the future development will face, both sides will be 2/3, and the money that he is depositing exceeds the required escrow anyway, so they're going to have enough money for the material to build the road, and it's part of the process of the development, so we just want to accept the check, put it in escrow.
There's motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Great, thank you very much.
That was quick.
Hello.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jesse Osuna on behalf of Commissioner Joseph Palacios. Item 19A is a right-of-way authorization to proceed with condemnation proceedings on the Alberta Drain Project, Parcel 8.
Move for approval.
Second.
There's motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item 19B, discussion and action to approve First Amendment between the County of Hidalgo, the Edinburgh Consolidated Independent School District, the City of McAllen, and Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 regarding the Mile 17.5 Road Project.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item 19C, it's for the Emergency Services Facility approval of certification revenues as certified by the County Auditor for the Emergency Service Facility Project in Lynn, San Manuel.
For approval.
Second.
There's motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
C2, approval of the 2014 appropriation of funds for the Emergency Service Facility Project in the amount of $250,000.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
19D, approval of supplemental agreement number 1 to master multiple use agreement between the State of Texas and Hidalgo County for the Lynn San Manuel Beautification Project, 281 and Highway 186.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Aida?
Ida, you gonna hide?
I'll go ahead and read the item for Haida, Commissioner.
Go ahead.
Item 20A is requesting approval to pay the annual service fee for the Regional Organized Crime Information in the amount of $150, with authority for the county treasurer to issue the check, review and audit, after review, audit, and processing procedures are completed by the county auditor.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Sergio.
Sergio Cruz, Department of Budget Management. Item 21A is consideration, discussion, and approval to develop and implement one or more of the following sanitation program models. We have 3 different models for the court. We have the exclusive service agreement, which is basically one vendor countywide. We have the non-exclusive service agreements, which is basically we would have multiple vendors that would be servicing countywide the same areas. And then we would have the institution of a permit fee within our collection stations, our transfer stations.
I recommend no action. I think we need to get together with Colonias and the groups, Lupe and Arais and all those groups, and have some meetings with them and town hall meetings. So
I agree with that, as long as we do it in a timely fashion with all the meetings, and then we bring it back to court.
Bring it back later.
We'll coordinate with the organizations to set up public hearings at their locations. Does the court want us to basically present to them all 3 of the alternatives that we have, including maybe a hybrid of one of these having some type of service agreements and having the collection stations open at the same time, and instituting a permit fee on that?
Right.
Would that be the court's
I just think
direction?
I'd like to give them a chance, and so they can express their concerns, their feelings, and see what they think, So we'll bring it back. I guess we'll get together and bring it back.
I have no particular problem with it, except we're going to be talking about the budget, and we're going to be talking about revenues that are out there in reference to the courthouse.
Correct.
So some decision is to be made.
We'll try to do this within the two-week time frame that we have. We do have a week off next week as far as Commissioners Court meeting, so we'll try to see if we can't have these public hearings sometime next week, and that we'd be able to bring something back to the court on the June 30th Commissioners Court meeting. Again, yes, this is a very pressing matter. We do need to make a decision on this, especially for discussions on our 2015 budget process.
Judges, no action on the item regarding sanitation.
No.
Yes, Judge. The commissioners have requested no action on 21A while we conduct public hearings with the different organizations, and we hope to have this item back on the agenda by the June 20th meeting date. Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
The 30th, or
30th, it's going to be on Monday. Good morning again, Martha Salazar for the Purchasing Department. Going on to 22A1. This is the presentation of the bids received for the purpose of awarding primary and secondary contracts to the responsible vendor submitting the lowest and best bids for the bulk fuel on-off highway diesel fuel products. We had two participants. The two participants, and it's part of your backup, are our current vendor, Argendegi, and Gold Star Petroleum. The difference between the two bids is 0.23 of a penny. But the statute that guides us as to awarding a bid is we are charged with awarding the contract to the responsible bidder who submits the lowest and best bid. So what we did, we had asked for references. We also did that research on the references, and let me tell you, based on the 5 references that we did contact and discuss, Gold Star's largest monthly fuel order, and it's Gold Star who is 0.23 of a penny lower. Gold Star's largest monthly fuel order is 30,000 gallons. Hidalgo County's demand, if you just, not on a monthly basis, but just topping the tanks, well, probably on a monthly basis, is 100,000 gallons. Argendegi's largest monthly fuel order is for, I think it is the Bexar County Transport Authority, and their average fuel for a month is 500,000 gallons, 541. And we have no complaints on those, on the deliverable of those fuels. We did site visits also to both companies. Argendegi Oil has a very good site. They also have extra loaner tanks, which is part of our bid. We must have loaner tanks because not all of our sites have underground tanks. So they have them available in case we were to add or delete, especially if we were to add loaner tanks. Gold Star Petroleum had, I think, 3 tanks there, but in order for Gold Star to be able to replace the loaner tanks that we demand right now, which I think are 18, there were 3, like I said, tanks in stock, and they would be available within 10 days. But if we award to Gold Star as primary, it would take them 30 days to get the tanks, and that's if they're used. If we require new tanks, it would take them 60 days, which they would have to order. Now, this current bid expires June 28th, this month. I think that given the enormity of the demand we have for fuel, it is in our best interest and permitted by the statute that I recommend that Argendegi be given the primary award vendor and Gold Star as the secondary. If you were to cap off our tanks on just one load by both vendors, using the figures that I gave you, the difference between the cost of just fueling and capping them off, topping them off one time is $267.40.
what was the name of the first one, the primary?
Argendegi, that's our current vendor. Gold Star out of FAR
Secondary.
would be our secondary. That is my recommendation for the reasons that I have cited and the due diligence we have done in making this presentation to you, that the 0.23 of a penny, it is not in our best interest to award it as a primary.
Move for approval on your recommendation.
We outside grounds.
Trying to figure out how to answer that question, Commissioner. Considering all the attributes with the loaner tanks That would have to be our argument, is the longer
Yes,
tanks.
it's the responsibility of the vendor. It's not a disparaging word, the responsibility. It's the ability to service us in the volume that we do. In 1 month, we take the volume 3 times plus more than their biggest current reference. They do not have the capacity. I believe that the reason we do primary and secondary is because in the event we have, if in the event our primary doesn't deliver, they will be called upon. In addition, in the event we have a disaster, we want to have both of them available.
And right now, it's
And the
getting pretty
statute,
hard.
as it says, is to the responsible vendor that submits the lowest and best. It is in our best interest.
Right now,
For
it's been pretty hard to get
23
delivered.
hundredths of a penny, I think it would be a disservice also to them to doom them to fail, because I don't believe they can't meet our demands.
Okay.
We've asked the same question of both vendors.
As long as we're good, Steve?
You're as good as you can be.
Wow.
No, because it's a fact question. It's a fact question that this court has to decide is.
And the vendors were
Is it the
advised.
best
The
bid?
bid specs are very detailed in advising them. They need to be very aware of our circumstances, of our demands, and all
We
that
have-
criteria that is required.
We have a motion and a second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is presentation of the scoring grid for the purposes of ranking. By Commissioners Court, the responses received in connection with the request for proposals for financial advisory services. We had 2 vendors submit. First Southwest, the average score from the graders, which there were 6 appointed by the court, is 89.83, and Estrada Hinojosa at 90.33. Does the court wish to rank them in the order of the scores?
Move for approval.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries
Item B
unanimously.
is requesting authority of the purchasing department to proceed to negotiate a letter of engagement commencing to attempt that engagement with the number 1 ranked firm of Estrada Hinojosa for the provision of financial advisory and related services.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Item 3, requesting approval of clarification and correction of agenda item 36906 for March 20th of 2013, as the term of agreement was erroneously captioned as 1 year, clarifying the document to reflect the correct term as stated through the life term of the existing equipment in place for monitoring service for the county-owned building located in 9805 North 10th Street, McAllen, with ASG. And that will also continue the services.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Approval to modify the current approved agreement with ASG for monitoring services, the county-owned building located at 9805 North 10th Street, to include open and closed log services for a monthly $5 fee, and the monthly total fee would now be $33.95.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And acceptance and approval to process ASG security invoices for services from the month of March through May.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 4 is a presentation of the scoring grid from the evaluation committee for the purpose of for the proposal received and the purposes for the ranking by Commissioners Court in connection with the RFP real estate broker services. These are for those nominated pieces of land that each precinct has now given us, and this is for the sale and the promotion of those properties. And the 2 participants were W.M. Keller Williams Realtors with an average score of 80, and CBRE Incorporated with a score of 94. Does the court wish to rank them in the order of their scores?
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Requesting authority for the purchasing department to commence negotiations with the number 1 ranked firm of CBRE Incorporated.
Move for approval.
Second.
PBRE, that's the one that has Mr. Arriaga on it?
I know they have a local rep.
All right.
That's what I understand.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 5 will be done by Mr. Guerra. Oh, no, it's not that one yet. I'm so sorry, I'm premature. Award of bid and contract to the responsible vendor submitting the lowest and best bid as detailed in tabulation and contained herein, and meeting all specifications and requirements for the title project of custodial services for the new administration building, formerly known as the Kmart building, located at 2812 South Business Highway 281 through project number 049. We had 16 packets requested, 6 bids were received. We are recommending ABM Janitorial Services, DBA ABM Janitorial.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
B1, acceptance and approval of a professional appraisal services agreement, number 264, with Leonel Garza Jr. and Associates, LLC, for the provision of appraisal services on an on-call basis, and this is for Precinct 1.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Precinct 2, this is approval of the following requisitions listed for operating expenditures exceeding $7,500 as posted and listed on the agenda. This is Rio Valley Pipe, Martin Marietta, Frontera Materials, and Frontera Materials.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The next one is approval of the following invoices listed for previously approved purchase orders for operating expenditures exceeding $7,500. That was Argendegi at $8,241, and Argendegi again at $9,060.43.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 3A, requesting waiver of provision number 1 of the Hidalgo County Exiting Elected Officials Expenditure Policy in connection with requisitions exceeding the limit of $7,500, as the delay would have caused the inability to commence a scheduled road construction project and thus leaving county staff and resources idle.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item B is ratification of purchase order numbers 710-131 and 710-141 in connection with expedited purchase of road construction materials for Wayland Road project.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D1, this is Precinct 3, acceptance and approval of the following invoices submitted for contracted project engineer, LNG Consulting Engineers Incorporated, items 1 through 5 for Mile 2 Moorfield Road West to State Highway 364 at $56,828.97. Item 2 would be Mile 2 North Inspiration to Moorfield Road, $5,499.13. Liberty Road is number 3 at $52,510. Number 4 is FM 494 Sherry Road Project at $42,853.86. And item 5 is for Mile 3 at $64,849.14.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is approval of a professional engineering services contract for the provision of general engineering services for road and bridge projects, drainage improvement projects, and all other projects for Precinct 3 with Javier Hinojosa Engineering as authorized for negotiations on May 27, 2014.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I'm going to take E1, and then the rest will be done by Mr. Guerra.
Well,
A.
Marty, why don't I just
Do
take
the
it-
whole thing. Go
yeah,
ahead.
Let me just take it from the beginning. Judge Commissioners, item E1 is approval of a lease agreement between Hidalgo County and Union Pacific Railroad Company. This is for an address of 1051 North Doolittle Road here in Edinburgh. It's for the use of premises to be utilized for vegetation control and use incidental thereto only and for no other purpose. It's with the term of this lease to commence on July 1st of this year for 1 year unless terminated or renewed or extended as provided in the lease agreement.
Judge and Commissioners, if I can explain, this property sits north of our facility. They've had it, it's been a weedy lot pretty much, and we want to get in there and kind of maintain it for a year. Just get in there, shred it, and keep it clean.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The next action item is requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 262.024A for professional services.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Presentation of scoring grid for the purpose of ranking by Commissioners Court of the firms graded and evaluated through the county's approved pool of professional appraisal services providers for the sale of properties within Hidalgo County Precinct 4. This is a job-specific project. The firms were Integra Realty Resources, HLH Appraisal Services, George J. Salazar DBA Appraisal
House.
Appraisal House, I'm sorry. And the evaluation is 89, 91, 94 respectively. How would the court?
Move for approval?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay, based on that ranking, item D is authority for the purchasing department to negotiate a professional appraisal service contract with the number one ranked firm of George J. Salazar DBA Appraisal House for a project-specific sale of properties within Hidalgo County Precinct number 4.
Move for approval? Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
I'll continue with item 2. This is acceptance and approval to pay flat rate assessments incurred by Hidalgo County from 2009 to 2014 to Hidalgo County Irrigation Number 1 for 18.76 acre tract of land out of the Lot 15, Section 260, Texas Mexican Railroad Company's survey, Hidalgo County, Texas, according to the map and plat thereof recorded in Volume 2, page 29, map records of Hidalgo County, and as further detailed in the general warranty deed attached here too, through requisition number 00256335, which is attached, the deal, which further details irrigation plat rate assessments, interest, attorneys, and processing fees in the amount of $2,643.30, including the issuance and release of check by Hidalgo County Treasurer once the review, audit, and processing procedures are completed.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And we've got number 3, acceptance and approval of amendment to contract number 335, PO number 703537 with Aranda and Associates to reduce the fees under Exhibit A cost proposal for the purposes of surveying services, job-specific project, Brewster Park, located in Precinct 4.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item F, under the JPs, Hidalgo County Purchasing Department Fixed Asset Division is requesting and recommending that Hidalgo County Commissioners Court to approve the removal from inventory of 2 fixed assets, numbers 23132 and 27845, described and detailed in the attached Exhibit A, with no current value, located at 122 East Park, FAR, Texas, in a building once leased by Hidalgo County from Honorable Rosa E. Trevino, JP Precinct 2, Place 2, pursuant to Article 6.2 of the expired lease between Hidalgo County and Judge Trevino.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under G, Facilities Management, we're requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code 262-024A4, a professional service.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Presentation of the scoring grid for the purposes of ranking of the firms graded and evaluated through the county's approved pool of professional construction materials testing firms. And this is for the Constable Precinct 1 new building. They were PSI at 76, Terracon at 89, and Robert Kistner at 90. Does the court wish to rank them in the order of their scores?
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
We ask for authority to negotiate a professional services contract with the number 1 ranked of Robert Kistner.
Second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Need a motion to proceed to executive session pursuant to 551, 071, and 072 of the Texas Government Code.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. It is now 11:41. We're in executive session. All right, we're back in open session. Mr. Guerra?
Thank you, Judge Commissioners. I do have quite a bit of requests on the part of the court, but let me Judge, Commissioners, with your permission, there is an agenda item that I need to refer to under the regular agenda for Precinct 4, and that is agenda item 19A. Is that what it is? 19A, under right-of-way. The court took action to proceed with condemnation proceedings on Alberta Drain Project Parcel Number 8, Idalia I. Ruiz. Judge, Commissioners, with that being said, or the action that was taken, I'd like to refer back to 6A1. 7A1. I'm requesting exemption from the competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 26202-484. Professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation. I could have a motion to that effect.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 7A2, I'm requesting engagement with the law firm of Atlas Hall and Rodriguez for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation and authority to submit a letter of engagement. And that again was specific to item 19A, which was the right-of-way authorization to proceed with condemnation proceedings on Alberta Drain Project Parcel 8, Idalia I. Ruiz. I could have a motion to that effect.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay. Judge, Commissioners, under open session, if I may, there is no action under A, real estate acquisition appropriation for same. There's no action to be taken under pending and or potential litigation. Item 24C, Judge, Commissioners, CL 140359-E, Mary Lou Gomez, individually and next to friend of Alejandro Rodriguez versus Hidalgo County. Judge, Commissioners, I'd like to report that we have a settlement agreement for the court to consider. I'm asking the court, I'm recommending the court that we accept settlement, total settlement on this, in this case, in the amount of $20,500. For the record, the disbursement would be as follows. To the county clerk, as trustee of minor Alejandro Rodriguez, $9,825.33. To Mary Lou Gomez, as next of friend of Alejandro Rodriguez, and her attorney, Jesus Sotelo, $10,174.67. And to Mary Lou Gomez individually and her attorney, Jesus Sotelo, $500. Additionally, Judge, I'd like for the court to consider and take action on an idle item fee awarded by the County Court at Law Number 5 to Robert De Anda in the amount of $2,000 specific to this case.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 24D, Cristina Reina versus County of Hidalgo and the City of Mission. Judge, Commissioners, for the record, I'd like to assign the case to Ms. Josephine Ramirez at the District Attorney's Office. If I could have a motion to that effect.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And the assignment is specific to Hidalgo County and not City of Mission. Item E, cause number CL 142283-G, Leonardo Rodriguez Serna versus Hidalgo County. Judge, Commissioners, this was a claim that had been assigned to Palacios and Associates. It has turned into a suit, and so I would like to refer back to item 7A12. I'm requesting exemption from the competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 26202-484, professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation. Have a motion to that effect?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item 7A2, I'm requesting the engagement with the firm of Palacios and Associates, Palacios and Associates for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation, authority to submit a letter of engagement, again specific to Leonardo Rodriguez Serna versus Hidalgo County.
Move for approval.
For the record, Palacios did not relate to me.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item F, under open session, civil action number 714-CV-00438, David Carizales and Rogelia Stabolito versus Guadalupe Lupe Trevino Sheriff et al. Judge, Commissioners, this was a claim that we had assigned to Preston Henderson. It has turned into a suit. I would like to refer back to items 7A1 and 2. 7A1, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 26202-484, a professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 2, requesting engagement with the firm of of Preston Henriksen for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation and authority to submit a letter of engagement.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, on that very same action or lawsuit, David Carizales and Rogelia Stabolito versus Guadalupe Lupe Trevino Sheriff et al., because of the way that the case is styled, I'd like to again refer back to items 7A1 and 2. Item 7A1, requesting exemption from the competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 2620244, professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation. Could I have a motion to that effect?
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 7A2, I'm requesting the engagement with the firm of Michael Lee for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation, authority to submit a letter of engagement. For clarification purposes, Mr. Michael Lee, under this suit, would be representing Gerardo Mendoza Duran and any other unnamed officers associated with this litigation.
Oh, in Hidalgo County.
Yes, sir, Hidalgo County.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay, and so again, for clarification purposes, we have two attorneys assigned, Preston Henriksen and Michael Lee, to this particular case. Item G, Judge Commissioners, under open session, claim of Noe Estrada. I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $71.55.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item H, claim of Ener Sanchez and Damiana Martinez, parents of Monica Sanchez, a minor. Judge Commissioners, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer for settlement in the amount of $300.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item I, claim of Jose Osul. Judge Commissioners, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $200.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item J, claim of Jose Palomin. Judge Commissioners, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $67.48.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item K, claim of Enrique Rubio. Again, Judge Commissioners, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $132.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item L, Judge Commissioners, the claim of Carlos Contreras. At this time, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $132.01, as well as Commissioner Palacios, I would ask that you would abstain from taking action on this item.
Move for approval.
Second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners. Unless the court, there's a need to go back in executive session, there's no action under item 25 and 26.
All right. Need a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Joe. Our next meeting is going to be when, brother?
Our next meeting is the